Hello, you beautiful mother duckers. OpenDarkwing here for another weekly sit down. Let's talk about regrets and mistakes for a bit, shall we? This might get a little personal. Have you ever said or done something you regret? Well, of course you have. We all have, haven't we? Regrets are an interesting thing. Regrets are pretty much decisions that you've made that impact you either directly or indirectly in a very negative way. And they tend to stay with you and stick with you longer than just like a simple mistake would. It kind of eats at you, it sits at you pretty deep and pretty hard. Oh, but Dark, I hear you say. What's with your title? How do you not have any regrets? Well, it's a matter of how you look at things. Have I messed up? Well, of course I have. I've made plenty of mistakes in my life. I'm almost 40 years old. Of course I've made mistakes. Mistakes are something that happens, honestly, way too frequently. But every mistake, every time I've turned left instead of right, it's all taught me something. And taking those lessons and letting them guide me for next time is kind of what I want to talk to you guys about. Every bad relationship, it teaches me what to look for in a person and what to watch out for. My wife and I both went through this, and which is how we kind of ended up where we are now. We figured out the likes, the dislikes, the wants, the things that we didn't want about people. And that's where we came to the conclusion that we were going to be compatible. And that was only because of the mistakes, the past relationships, and the pain that we went through previously. All kind of molded our minds and made our decisions about each other that I am very proud of and very happy for. Financial decisions, same thing. I made a lot of financial mistakes when I was younger, and that has shaped how I look at money, how I treat savings, everything else today. The idea is taking the past, things that have happened, things that you've done, and looking at them through a new lens. Even this channel and what we've talked about the last couple weeks now. My whole creative process and all the struggles that I've been through and the lazy just clicking going live. All of that has taught me valuable lessons. It took me a little bit longer to learn those lessons. Things like the tools. It's not about what tool you use. It's about learning a tool and using it. These are things that, when I was struggling with this, and this is where I kind of came up with the idea, is I was frustrated with myself because I feel like I've wasted, 4 or 5 years of my life kind of floating around because of bad decisions, bad habits that I've built, and being lazy at content creation. And my wife reminded me that I've learned a lot of lessons through that the last few years. And I had to say, yeah, I'm right. I'm not where I want to be at. I'm kind of on my rebound roll, but these are lessons along this journey that I'm learning. And it pushed me to the point where even like last night, for example, I signed back up to get a technical certificate to go back to school for this kind of stuff, because I don't want to regret. Because I want to be better at what I do. I want to strive towards something. And so going back to school, learning these skill sets, not just understanding the tools and how to use them on a technical, but when to use them, why to use them. And I'm not saying that everyone has to live this way. But if you can learn to take mistakes, things that happen in your life, good and bad, and you can learn to look at those through the eyes that it's teaching you a lesson. It's another thing that just shows you what you can do with them, what to watch out for, how to navigate life using lessons from the past. It's why history is so important. And it's not about dates and times and people and places. It's about lessons learned. It's about learning from the past so that we can avoid making either the same mistakes in the future or utilizing that information to make us better prepared for the future, to be better people in the future. That's the whole point of history. History always confused me in school because it was always like, well, here's the date this happened and here's what's going on. I was like, that doesn't make too much sense. All right, I'll learn it because that's what we get tested on. It wasn't until much later in life that I realized that the lessons that history teaches us are so valuable to prepare us for the future, to prepare us for the present, to get us ready to understand the bigger picture of what goes on. 5 years ago, I lost my mom to cancer. When she ended up having to go into hospice, it was because she had a fentanyl overdose. She had these fentanyl patches for pain management because of the cancer, and she had some massive infection, had half of her jaw removed. There was a lot of medical things leading up to her having to go into hospice care and to the nursing home, and then from the nursing home into hospice. But I also think now that she was having micro strokes throughout this whole time, and we never knew about it. So what was happening was she would forget to take off the old patch before putting a new patch on for time-released fentanyl for pain management. And this ended up cooking her brain pretty badly. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know this was happening up until after it happened. And something had happened. I'm not going to go into the full details of it, but before we ended up having to call and get an ambulance out here and get her into care, I had gotten very upset with her about something. And I didn't know at the time when I was pissed off and just wanted to just kind of get away for a minute and reset, and was so angry that I would never have a normal conversation with my mother again. For a very long time, this was one of my biggest regrets, was not paying closer attention to what was happening. For not just talking more and having more conversations. And I can't change that now. But what it has ended up teaching me was the importance of family, importance of telling a loved one that you love them. It indirectly resulted, or directly, I guess, now that I'm thinking about it this way, into me and my dad having a much better relationship, and me and my stepmom having a much better relationship, and them moving out here last summer was like, I'm ecstatic about this because I get to have that closeness with them that it kind of gives me a chance to do some stuff over again. And as hard and gut-wrenching as everything was with my mom, I can't regret it because it helped teach me a very hard lesson of how important family is and how important it is to reach out and to touch someone and talk to someone and have those meaningful relationships and conversations, even if it's just a hug and I love you. Those are so important, and you never realize it until you can't do it anymore, how important that is. So, do I have regrets? No, I don't have regrets. Am I still upset with myself about how I acted or reacted to certain things? Yeah, and that probably will never go away. But regretting it? Every decision I've ever made, right or wrong, good or bad, has led me to this point in my life right now. And honestly, I kind of like who I am right now. I have a small community, you guys, that is growing. I have a wife that I love. I have 4 amazing kids. And all of that is because of the lessons that I have learned in my life and been able to adapt and overcome mistakes that I have made, bad things that have happened. You know, we talked about relationships earlier. My 3 older kids are from a previous relationship that I should probably regret it sometimes. But if I regretted it and I changed it, I wouldn't have 3 of my kids. So all the lessons I've taken in my life up to this point have led me to who I am today. And it's why I can say that even with mistakes, even with pain, I don't regret any of it, because I don't regret who I am right now. I kind of like who I am right now. I'm still learning. I'll be 40 in a few weeks. And I kind of like who I am at this age. And I've been able to do that by looking at life through a different lens than what a lot of people do, and understand that not everything is going to be perfect, but I can make myself better because of it. Quack, quack, mother duckers. Thank you all for taking this journey with me. I look forward to the next steps. It's going to be fun.